which is plants, soil, water, natural vegetation, wildlife, resources. So in the first chapter we saw resources, out of which one type was natural resources. Now over here in this video we'll see the further classification of natural resources. We'll cover each of these subtopics separately and in brief explanation. Now moving on to land, the first thing. Now land is among the most important natural resource, yet it covers only 29% of the land, and out of which all parts of the land are even not habitable. Now this is basically because of two main characteristics that are land, the characteristics and the varied type of land, and the climate. Now uneven distribution of population is there. Now around 70% of the people are living on 10% of land, whereas the rest 30% are spread across the 90% of the land. This is because of course people, we even as humans, you and me will prefer to live on plains, plateaus, rather than living in the Arctic circles, Antarctic circle, ocean belts and all, because over there the extreme climate temperature are there which we humans can't bear, including with we will not be preferred to live in the very deserted areas or very mountainous regions, because they are not as resourceful or as convenient to us as these plain and plateau areas are. Hence there is an uneven distribution of population around us. Now what are the land use, or for what is the land used? So basically land is used for many different purposes, which we have agriculture, forestry, mining, building houses, roads, and also setting up industries. These all are known as land use. Now soil, this is the second one. Now a thin grainy substance or that covers the surface of the earth is known as soil. Soil is made up of organic matters, minerals, weathered rocks, which are found on the earth, and the formation of soil is known as weathering. Very important. How is soil formed? Soil is formed by weathering. Now we'll see more about soil. So basically the top layer on the earth's surface, this surface of the earth which we can see, is covered with a very thin layer of grainy substance which is known as soil. We can see the soil profile, or how soil actually is. Now the part which we see is only the O horizon, which is the first part which is visible to us. Now when we dig, now I'm not talking about the soil which we get in our homes for the plants or the pots. They are not this type of soil. They only contain A to E horizon. These three horizons are mainly missing in them. So for that we need soil that has been in one place or at rest for many months or even years. Now O horizon is the one which we can see where we walk or the plants grow, basically the area of soil which we can see. The A horizon is the one which is very dark in shade. This is the horizon which contains mainly most of the minerals, vitamins and other substances which are the main basic factors of the soil. The E horizon, whereas, is where the extreme deep roots, now plants or the big trees which have a very deep spreaded roots, are the ones which reach till the E horizon. Now the B and C horizon contains of soil with a little bit of grainy weathered rocks which have still not been turned into soil, whereas the R horizon contains completely parent rocks which are still to be turned into soil. Now what are the factors of soil formation? The major factors which are the parent rock and the climatical factors. Parent rocks are basically the big rocks which then are broken by the process of weathering, and hence they are converted into soil. Now there are also other factors except for parent rock and climatical factors, which are topography, the role of organic material, time taken. So basically climatic factors and time taken are related basically. So we'll say now soil of parent rock can take around billions of years also to form into a soil, or even thousands of years. So there's a big difference between 1,000 and billions of years, and this is mainly due to the climatic regions. Now the factors of soil formation that we saw just now: climate, organisms, relief, parent material and time process into the soil properties. Now what do you mean by degradation of soil? Degradation of soil means depletion or depletion of soil or soil erosion, which are a threat to soil as a resource. Soil is also a big resource. Now, not only humans but also humans as well as the natural factors are responsible for soil erosions. Now, some of the factors which include soil erosion are overgrazing, overuse of chemical fertilizers and deforestation. Now, I'll give one example over here. Using chemical fertilization, if there is excess use of chemical fertilization, those chemical fertilizations will be dumped into the water. That water will evaporate, will come down in the form of rain, condensation. That chemically filled water will be absorbed by the soil, which will degrade the soil properties and the good amount of subsistence in the soil. Now, soil conservation. Soil conservation can be done by the following methods, which we will see in depth in the following slides. Now, mulching. Now, mulching means covering the bare ground which is present around, the one which I am coloring right now, which is present around the plants we grow with straw. By straw, I don't mean the plastic straw, but the hay or other parent rocks, small rocks, which will retain the moisture of the soil. So the soil which becomes dry, it has cracks in it. So this organic material will help to retain the moisture. Now we have contour barriers. Now stones, grasses, soil are all used to build barriers along the contours, and we'll see what are contours in the following slides. So basically these are the things which are used to create a barrier along the contours. Now, rock dams are dams which are built to slow the flow of water. In Pune main dam we have the Khadakwasla dam we have. Now, terrace farming is the main farming which is possible, is done on the mountainous regions, so that we can have a surface runoff and the flat surfaces can be available to grow crops. Now, intercropping is mixing the two types or three types of crops and not growing a single type of crop on a particular area for a long time. Because suppose I grow wheat on a land for many years, then wheat does not require all nutrients or minerals. It only requires a certain amount of nutrients and minerals, and then the depletion of that particular mineral and nutrient will be there in the soil, because no other nutrient or mineral or vitamin is being used from the soil. Now, as I said about contour barriers, we have contour plowing. So see, the contours are basically the curvy or the wavy lines present in the farmlands or the greenery grassy lands. Now, plowing in the parallel directions. So suppose if they are going, the contours are growing like this, we plow in this direction, so that it acts as a natural barrier to slow the flow of water. We have shelter belts. So basically, in the coastal or dry regions, rows of trees are planted so that they can check the wind movement and protect the soil. Now, water is a vital renewable resource, and it covers 3/4% of the earth's surface, yet only fresh water accounts of 2.7%, out of which now 2.7 70% is trapped in ice sheets and glaciers, leaving only 1% accessible. Now, what about natural vegetation and wildlife? Now, natural vegetation and wildlife only exists in the narrow zones between the lithosphere and the hydrosphere and the atmosphere, which we call as the biosphere. This word is biosphere. It's a bit light. Now, biosphere is where all the human beings are related, are living and interrelated. Now, we'll learn more about this in the chapter Conservation of Plants and Animals in Biology. But for now, the supporting system where we are interdependent on each other for survival is known as the ecosystem. Now, distribution of natural vegetation. The growth of vegetation primarily depends on temperature and moisture, as the major vegetation types of the world are grouped as forest, grasslands, shrubs and turunda. So basically, grasslands, or all we take paddy. Basically, paddy is, again I'm giving an extra example, it's rice, it requires a lot of water, whereas shrubs are the only small plants which grow. Now we have forest, we can see the big forest with huge trees. Alright, thank you all. That was all for today's chapter.